Unless you've spent the last 25 years living under a rock, you've probably come across the best-selling video game franchise of all time, Pokemon. Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. My name is jadeash and today I will be answering the question, what is Pokemon Revolution Online and should you play it? Before we begin, I'd like to remind you that clicking that captivating red subscribe button is completely free. I'd be super grateful if you could support the channel in any way possible, so consider joining the channel today. Let's start with the basics. Pokemon Revolution Online is a Pokemon MMO fan game. If you've never heard of the term MMO game before, it stands for Massive Multiplayer Online Game. At first sight, Pro looks like any ordinary Pokemon game. The story follows the same events as in the games. You start in the Kanto region, and there are 4 regions you can play through: Kanto, Johto, Hoenn, and Sinnoh. As soon as you defeat all 8 gym leaders in the Elite Four of one region, you get to move on to the next. You might be wondering, what happened to all of the regions that come after Sinnoh? Well, the developers of Pro decided to stop at Sinnoh and make a new original 5th region called Astrella that should be coming soon. The critical point that makes Pro different from any other Pokemon game is that there is no breeding. Yes, you heard correctly, there is no Pokemon breeding available in Pro. That makes the game heavily reliant on wild hunting and praying to RNGesus. But don't worry about egg moves, they are still available and can be taught in a similar way to move tutors. Pro is basically a hunting game where you depend on luck to catch rare Pokemon, shinies, or event forms with good stats. Somewhat similar to a gacha game. There are a few events where they make Pokemon with certain stats available, but those are very rare and you have to get lucky to obtain even one of them. Legendary Pokemon are obtainable from certain quests that require a certain amount of playtime and other prerequisites. They're mostly easy but a little bit lengthy and need some time to complete, but it is nice that they are obtainable. Once you catch a legendary, its stats will be randomized. There are certain items in the game called reroll tickets that can be used to reroll your legendary Pokemon's IVs and change its nature to the one you prefer in case your sync failed. PvP is not the best feature since only Pokemon from Gen 1 through Gen 6 are steadily available. Some of them are not even available all year round or just have bad spawning areas, but we'll talk about that later. There isn't much room for creativity in PvP since the prizes are very minimalistic and everyone just wants to win. I can't blame them. You only get 1 PvP coin for every win at the end of each monthly PvP season after you subtract the losses, which is not that much. The really good prizes are only given to those who end up on the top of the PvP ladder, which are the top 25 spots. Bottom line, the game does not encourage you to try PvP, it forces you to do it. I'll explain this by talking about PvE. PvE is supposed to be the basic form of money making in any Pokemon game. The money generated from the game itself. And PvP should be an option or a choice for players whether they want to participate in it or not. The majority of Pokemon players are just casual players. If Pokemon was a PvP based game, it would have been classified as a fighting game, which it is not. To fully understand the PvE situation in Pro, you need to learn about the ways to earn money in the game. I will link a video about the different ways of earning money in Pro to keep this video relatively short. What usually happens is that every once in a while, the staff find a way to nerf PvE income or increase the difficulty of obtaining said income, such as nerfing dig spots and buffing the boss's AI. If you want to know more about dig spots and what happened to them, I'll leave a link to my video explaining it in the description as well, so check it out. So basically, by nerfing PvE, they force you to do PvP in order to maintain the same level of income you would have been getting before the nerf. Or you would just need to do much more work to keep on doing bosses like you normally would. And believe me, it gets tedious and boring after a while. Now let's talk about the special features and facilities in the game. Pro does not have an auction house or some sort of trading hub. Instead, any Pokemon for sale is put in trade chat or mostly auctioned off on the forums. The forum is nicely organized and easy to navigate. Auctions have become an integrated part of trading in Pro, which in essence is not healthy to the economy at all. Instead of players contending to offer good Pokemon for lower prices, they fight to see who can pay the most. And that in itself blurs the lines of basic pricing of Pokemon in the game. If you ask a random person to price check a Pokemon that you want to sell, the chance that you would get an accurate price is almost 30%, and that is being generous. The rate of encountering a shiny Pokemon is the same as the Gen 2 through Gen 5 games, which was 1 out of 8,192. The only different rate obtainable in the game is from 3 consecutive wins against boss NPCs, in which it is half of that or the base rate for the core games from Generation 6 onward, which is 1 out of 4,096. To put it into perspective, you can only fight the same boss once every 12 days. And once you beat it 3 times in a row, you get to choose a Pokemon from a list that has a 1 out of 4,096 chance of being a shiny. Still really hard to obtain, and that's what makes shiny Pokemon so expensive in the game. Pro also has a special map called the Guild Island, a place only accessible to the top 10 PvP guilds. Guild Island has better spawning areas for rare Pokemon and Pokemon that you can't hunt anywhere else otherwise. It is a really good feature, but limiting it to the top 10 PvP guilds is already making it unfair. They practically give more advantage to the people who are already in top PvP. What about the people who are still starting out? How will they get access to these rare unhuntable Pokemon? New players don't start out with that much money to begin with, so they won't even be able to afford such Pokemon to build their teams. If you ask me the question, Jade, why do you play Pokemon Revolution if you think that it's not that great? My answer will simply be event forms. Pokemon Revolution Online has special seasonal events every year. These events revolve around a certain holiday or real-life events such as Valentine, Halloween, or Christmas. During these holidays, special events take place in Pro. Usually an event island is available for all players to explore, with a limited time event quest and a new legendary Pokemon to catch. Aside from new legendaries, special event forms are also huntable for the duration of the event. These event forms are basically styled sprites of the Pokemon. They do not add or change anything in the Pokemon itself, like typing or moves. Similar to League of Legends skins, just a sparkly new look for your favorite Pokemon to collect. But damn, do some of those look stunning. Kudos to the artists. Another technically new concept that Pokemon Revolution has recently introduced is Shadow Pokemon. During the Halloween event of 2021, there was a special quest that allowed the player upon completion to catch a Shadow Lugia, or as it was called in the official game where it was first introduced, XD001. This is the first time that Pro adds something that directly affects battle mechanics that the official games haven't yet introduced, the Shadow type. Shadow Pokemon were introduced back in 2005 in the game Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, but were never introduced as a type. Shadow Pokemon were also added during an event back in 2020 in Pokemon Go, but that didn't affect those Pokemon's typings as well. In Pro, the Shadow type deals double damage to all types including double typings, and deals only half the damage to other Shadow types. The only Shadow type Pokemon currently available is the Shadow Lugia, but they might introduce more in the future, who knows? So Shadow Pokemon might take an interesting turn if they decide to go somewhere with it later on. The art style and graphics in Pokemon Revolution are professionally made and very lovely. The game mostly uses Gen 4 assets to design the overworld and maps. The accessories and mounts in the game are all done by the game's artists. Most of them look pretty awesome when compared to other games, and overall, give the game a pretty solid look. Aside from a few visual bugs that eventually get fixed, nothing looks out of place whether it's about the shadowing, the coloring, or the animation. The artists do it again. The last thing I want to talk about is player-staff relations. When players are looking to start a new game, they often neglect or forget about how staff handle reports, manage the game, and how the moderating is done. No matter how good a game is, if it's not well moderated, it's a waste of time playing it. When it comes to general management and keeping things in check, Pro is top tier. But unfortunately, it does not have a good history of friendly relations between players and staff, but they do their jobs in administration and control very well. Things such as filters for blacklisted words are available inside the game, and toxicity is prohibited as long as you're inside the game or using the forums. But when you head on to the game's Discord server, things start to look not so friendly anymore. Many people believe and protest against the level of toxicity in the main Discord, but it seems like their cries fall on deaf ears. From my personal experience, I think that the staff rule by fear. Players are afraid of doing wrong things such as scamming or being toxic just because they're threatened to be banned if they do so, not because it hurts the game and makes it unenjoyable for many others, which is an indication of all of the bad things that happen when the mods aren't active. Even with suggestions, they strictly tell you to not suggest concerning certain things such as spawning spots or Pokemon that hinder the player in certain areas. Most of the suggestions that have many players approving don't even get a reply most of the time. It almost seems like they do these things to annoy or disappoint the players on purpose. If you want my advice, use the Pro Discord only to tune in to new announcements, check out the video guides and PvP battles, and for using the support channel when you're stuck in the game at a certain point. So as a conclusion and the final answer to the question, should you play Pokemon Revolution Online? The answer is surprisingly yes. The game itself is good, otherwise I wouldn't have played it this long in the first place. I've been playing this game for over 3 years now. Despite needing some tweaks here and there, it's still enjoyable to a certain degree. If you think you're able to handle the bad players, which by the way are present in every MMO, not just Pro, and you think you can hunt for several hours and not get utterly frustrated for not getting what you want, then go for it. The graphics are nice, and the game has a unique playstyle about it. Throughout this video, I tried to be honest and clear about things as possible, but in the end, this video is a representation of the game from my point of view. If you guys have different thoughts, or maybe there's something that I forgot to mention, feel free to let me know in the comments. That way, people who are looking to play the game can get the most information possible before committing to play the game. And don't forget, if you thought this video was helpful, kindly do not forget to leave a like and subscribe to tell YouTube that this video deserves the attention. Most of my viewers haven't actually subscribed yet, so please, make sure you do to support the channel. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye!